join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Color guard reform. Color guard up. Color guard forward march. Color guard up. About face. Color guard at ease. Eyes at ease.
Now for the invocation, Sister Boston.
Audience, if you'll please rise and remove all non-religious headwear. We give thanks to you for allowing us to be here together for the Eagle Scout Court of Honor for Aiden and for Nicholas. We are thankful for the Boy Scouts of America organization and the opportunity it supplies to young men to develop skills, friendships, leadership, and character. Thank you for the hard work and leadership that Aiden and Nicholas have given to Troop 177. Please continue blessing Aiden and Nicholas and our troop as you have blessed us in the past. We also pray that Nicholas and Aaron and Aiden's accomplishment will inspire others here to follow their lead and to strive for excellence in their own lives. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Both Nicholas and Aiden will be recognized tonight with a unique path to Eagle. I will be reading Eagle Flight Path by Vicki Meidlenberger, and following will be the slideshows that capture each scout's own path to Eagle. Eagle Flight Path. Lassing's tide in the noonday sun, crackling campfires when day is done. Blue-orange flames lick, leaping high, while we listen to the night. We wrapped nature in our arms, slept in tents with no alarms. Hiking, biking, cooking too, swimming, diving, paddling canoes. Stretching, reaching, growing strong, we conquered trails and without mom, learning how to get along. In service to others, cheerfully given, we toil together, scouting brothers driven. A father's time, character to sift, that special blend, a special gift. A leader's season, first, a follower must be. This Eagle Trail and its reward is what you have shown to me. With open heart and guided light, you climbed with me and you gave me sight. And when I slipped, as sons can do, you taught a man, get up, keep his steps true. A refiner's fire kindled now in me, molded, shaping the man you'll see. This Eagle badge I wear for two, and for the many others who helped me through. And to the sons who had to stand here in this place one day, may you be blessed with such a man to help show you the way. Just so you know, there's when it's time, a dad one day I'll be, and when my child looks in my eyes, my dad will see in me.
this time, I will welcome the Scoutmasters that were present while Nicholas and Aiden progressed through Boy Scouts to share a story or make a presentation. Mr. Vallejo, please come to the front to share.
So are we bringing the boys up?
Hey.
My name is Cesar Vallejo. I was the Scoutmaster of Troop 177 when this young man joined the troop. And they were kind enough to invite me to say a few words in their behalf in their Eagle Court ceremony. Somebody just handed me the program and it says lighthearted presentation. I work very hard on a very serious speech. I want to know that, but we have a breakdown in communication, so I'm going to try to make this as lighthearted as I can. The first thing I would say is, sitting back there for the regular Court of Honor has been one of the most joyful experiences of my life. And I think I share that with Mr. McChesney, and I just say to Brian, you will soon get there. But there is no more joy than a Court of Honor in which you can sit and participate, and you did not put the slideshow together, you did not help organize the awards, you do not have to prepare anything for it, you don't have to award anything, and you're not sweating back and forth trying to hold everything in place. It's the most joyful experience I have ever had. That and camping with the boys and enjoying the whole scouting experience. So, what could I say that's lighthearted? The troop got started with 4 scouts. That was kind of depressing, not lighthearted. And the first year, we did not recruit anybody because nobody wanted to join a troop that had 4 scouts. The next year, this brave man here joined us together with another one that's not here today, Just Bruja. And we had our first, Just Bruja. Say hi. That made our first two recruits in the troop and increased the number of scouts to 6, which was powerful. The following year, we had about 10 or 15 that joined, and then Aiden joined the year after that. And the rest is history. You have a very viable troop that has been, it makes me proud whenever I talked about it. People say, oh, you started Troop 177? Well, that's a great troop. But yeah, of course. They do a great job, needless to say. Let me recognize a few people before I address the Eagle Scout honorees. But first of all, I'd like to recognize 2 Eagle Scouts that are sitting back there that most people here do not know because they left the troop a few years back. But Mitchell Dye, stand up, and Scott Kincannon, please stand up. These are the first and second Eagle Scout. You don't see them here very often. It's to my chagrin because I always said Eagle Scouts need to hang close to the troop. But they are in college. One in Stillwater, one in Dallas. So it's difficult to come to troop meetings under those circumstances. You can sit down. My son, who is not here, is in College Station, Texas, is the 3rd Eagle Scout. And he was conflicted that he couldn't drive to be here this weekend, but unfortunately he has a job and he's taking summer classes too to try to graduate on time after he switched degrees. So he's not here tonight. He was our first bugler, by the way. So my second recognition is, where is Luke? Stand up. Come over here to the front. Stand right here with me. Let me tell a little story about the bugler. First bugler was my son, which was not taller than him, probably a little shorter than him, and had a trumpet that probably weighed more than he did. And he was struggling with it, but he persevered, and I insisted, you need to keep playing, you need to keep playing. He kept objecting to that. And he explained to me, maybe you have the same experience. He said, Dad, it's different to play in the band. It's like, why is it different? This is a lot simpler. It's just one song. In the band, you have to learn many different things. But in the band, you make mistakes, and nobody knows who did it. so that kind of opened my eyes. I don't play any instruments. That opened my eyes to what it takes to stand there and play by yourself and know that you own every single squeak that that trumpet makes. And by the way, you can warm up, you can't do anything with it ahead of time because you're in a room like this and everybody is expecting the national anthem to just pop out, you know? So I want you to give a round of applause to this guy. A lot of bravery to stand there and play the national anthem, but I can tell you, everybody who has done it before him has gotten a great tone, and then now they're invited to do taps at funeral ceremonies, they're invited to do all kinds of events, and they have persevered on it, and they make people proud. Actually, they make people cry when they play the bugle. So keep at it, okay? Good job. I was kidding a little bit when I said that it was joyful not to have to be involved directly in doing things, but actually the real joy is to see that some of the things we fought so hard to establish are there. And one of them is the bugle. At the time we started playing the trumpet, you know, at every troop meeting, there was no other troop in Edmond or in Oklahoma City who did that. And I think to this day that tradition perseveres in this troop, and I think to this day there will be very few. In fact, not only in Oklahoma City, we went to camps across the country, Colorado, Virginia, and we were the only troop with a bugler, so we would pay taps every night and everybody would go to bed basically when we decided that it was time to go, or when our bugler decided. So that brings me back to these two young men. As you saw in the pictures, they were little kids, they were really funny. I know Nicholas since he was a Cub Scout. We were at Pack 349, there was no Pack 177 yet, or Troop 177. And we were together there. He was 2 years younger than my son, and I was then leader with my son, so I was never directly your leader at the pack level, right? But you know, we did the pack meetings, and I participated in all those events, and I kept an eye on him. He was gracious enough to come and join us when he transferred into Boy Scouts, and as all young kids that transfer into Boy Scouts, he was full of attachments and hiccups and things that he did or didn't want to do that he thought would make it difficult for him to make it in scouting. And all of them are like that when they join the troop. There is a lot of attachment with mom and dad. There's a lot of things that they expect to be done for them. And unfortunately, or thankfully, depending on how you look at it, once we transition to Boy Scouts, the leadership thins, meaning we will have a few adults, but we don't have an adult after every kid, and we don't demand or want the parents to come to every camp out to be taking care of the kids. So the kids need to start to take care of themselves. And that is a rough patch for a 10 or 11-year-old that's used to mom and dad pretty much doing everything for them. So from I forgot my jacket, and we are out camping in January, to we left our breakfast, or we left our cooler. Where? At the church. It's like, okay, that's going to be a long weekend. So all that kind of things happen. And the rule is exactly what I just said. That's going to be a long weekend. So, Nicholas, you probably don't want me to say this.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm going to say it anyway.
Nicholas has the biggest difficulty trying to sleep by himself. He had to sleep with his mom. And his mom has the biggest difficulty trying to let Nicholas sleep by himself. So she had to be at every camp out, literally outside the tent. Actually, no, she was in her tent, but she had a cell phone. You know, it took me a while to realize how this worked. And he had another cell phone, so she could call in the middle of the night and he could dash over to her tent. And then the next morning she would say, I don't know what to do. You know, it's like, stop calling him. Don't let him call you. You know what I mean? But anyway, it's interesting because a lot of people were very concerned. Remember, we were very small troops, so anything was a big concern. With, you know, how do we break Nicholas out of this? How do we break Nicholas out of this? And I remember thinking one day, never seen a guy walking around with a pacifier in his mouth. So definitely people break out of things that are hard to break off, from. So he will stop doing this. I guarantee you that. It's not something that we need to be worried about. But needless to say, after 1 or 2 years, or 1 or 2 months, I can't remember. He just stopped doing that, started enjoying going out and camping with his fellow scouts, and the rest is history. To see him now here standing as tall as I am and ready to go to college. Mom's not going to college this week. Oh no. and not in Norman or in Stillwater, but out of state. That tells you that Scouts actually works. With Aiden was a little different. He came in and the troop was already more formed, right? We had more Scouts. It was not noticeable that it was a relatively new troop, right? But you saw pictures, and I caught when they said that was the training camp out. Those keywords, training camp out, that has so many memories for me, because the camp out before that one, you just spend a year with all the new recruits. So all these new boys are kind of already trained. They more or less know how to set up the tent and how to cook some sort of meal that is somehow eatable and sustain themselves for the weekend. Then the following camp out, the next month, I don't really know who designed this system. I don't know why we do this, but we just go out and recruit 10, 15, 12, 20 sometimes new kids. And for the Scoutmaster, it's like, exactly why do we do this? We just train the other ones. Why do we get new ones? Could we just stay like we were? But no, we get these new recruits and they come in and they have no clue. They're expecting everybody to cook and clean after them and remind them where their things are and pick up things around camp for them and so on and so forth. So it takes 2 or 3 campouts of a rough time for parents, adults, and mainly for the kids, until they realize that nobody's going to be doing things for them. So Aiden had the bad luck of being placed at one of these training campouts with a patrol that burned his food. So something they did wrong. Come Sunday morning, they had no breakfast. Now, the breakfast on Sunday morning before you pack up and leave to come back home, that's an important breakfast, usually because the dinner for them the night before has not been very good. So, you had basically the whole day Saturday with not a lot of good meals. I mean, breakfast on Sunday is very important. And the adults, we have a little trick, we have a little secret. We really make a really nice breakfast, or we used to do for Sunday morning, just to tease the kids. It's a way to provoke them. It's like, look what we have. We have bacon, we have all kinds of nice goodies for breakfast. What do you have? Pop-Tarts if you didn't leave the box open and some raccoon got in there. Because it happens sometimes. So anyway, he doesn't have breakfast. And he's kind of going and walking around the adult group. And I've been telling them, you need to be tough with them. You need to be really tough with them. You can't give them nothing. No, you can't give them anything. No food, nothing. They won't die. You just let them go, and then by the time they get there at the church at noon, they'll be really, really hungry. This kid is running around, circling. I'm keeping an eye on him because I think he's going to steal something. And he keeps going around, and finally he decides to have a conversation with me, and he tells me, I'm hungry. And I said, good. What is their patrol cooking? They are not cooking. Okay, well, why don't you go and cook something? I don't know if we have anything to eat. Well, next time you need to figure out, what you're going to do to have something to eat. He says, well, you guys have food. You guys have food. And it's like, yes, we do. Well, you should give me some. It's like, no, that's for the adults. He looks at me, obviously he was not this tall, he was not this tall. He looks up at me, he puts his best, innocent look, and he says, that's not fair. And at that moment, I almost break down, I almost give him some food, but then I look around, I say, I have about 6 other ones in that patrol. If I feed one, I have to feed all of them. And then all the parents, which I've been talking the whole weekend about how the scouting system works, are gonna crash on me. So, nice little looking, innocent looking one, go away. But anyway, a few months later, he was fully trained. He knew exactly what to do and, you know, and how to fend for himself, or at least to pretend that he was fending for himself. And we took a trip to Virginia, right? To the camp in Virginia, and then we walked off to Washington, D.C. Yeah, my visits to Washington, D.C. go downhill every time I go, so I'm not going anymore. I started going with my parents, actually, in a bus, in a bus, in a tour. You know, it was just beautiful, and it was pre-9/11, so this bus will stop by every monument, you will take pictures. It was just absolutely awesome. Then I went many times on my own, and I had to, you know, either drive or get a cab before Uber and all that. Then the time I went before going with the Scouts, I went with my daughter, and she was obsessed with biking through the mall. And I was like, that sounds a little odd, but yeah, we can do that. So we took our bikes, we drive to D.C. from North Carolina, and we parked the car outside the mall area, and then we bike in, and we spend the whole day looking at all the monuments on a bike and all the museums. And so we fully exploited the day, and we did it biking. So I thought, okay, well, that's it, you know. Then the next year, I went with the Boy Scouts. We went with the troop, and we did exactly the same tour of the mall, walking. So I don't want to go anymore, because the next time I'm going to have to crawl through the I can't do that. But anyway, Aiden has another good story in that walk. His parents were meeting him in D.C., and as we were walking past, I remember it was the Department of Agriculture. They pretend to have some wheat planted in some planters there. And Aiden says to me, all the Scouts are going in one line, the whole troop, you know. And I'm very proud of the whole thing, because I'm thinking, we took these kids for a week of camp in Virginia, and now we have them for pretty much a whole day in the mall. They took the subway, they took a train to change stations, and everything was going perfectly. And they were, you know, people were looking from the cars and everywhere, where they turning to see all these Scouts line up, walking in a straight line. And then Aiden says, I think we should be singing. Singing? What do you want us to sing? And he says, how about that song of the Scouts Have No Socks? And I taught them a lot of things as a Scoutmaster. But one thing I cannot teach them is to sing in English, because all my scouting experience was in Spanish back in Venezuela. So those two that stood up there were the ones who taught them all the songs they know, including the Ravioli song, right? And so, yeah, there is a Scout song that says, the Scouts have no socks. I saw them when they took them off. They put them in the laundry machine and then lost them, and something else happened, right? So they were singing that song down at the mall, and as I said, it was like a scene out of a movie, and actually out of a movie in the 50s. So they made the Scoutmaster really proud. They got a good time in the Air and Space Museum. Nobody got lost. They were there on their own for a couple of hours, and then everybody was right on time when we were ready to leave. So I have great experiences. I can speak for hours of what I did with this troop and with all the boys. I imagine Mark McChesney and Brian Brandon can share many of those experiences. I will tell you one last thing that involves both of them, either with me or later. But just a few months ago, we all heard about a situation in Indonesia where a soccer team got trapped into some caves. And I imagine most of you are aware of that news. It was interesting for me because having done the Alabaster Cavern caves with these guys, and knowing that the troop have been there recently, it was interesting to hear, the way they were describing things in the news, because you could say, I've been there, not in that cave in Indonesia, but I've been there in an extremely similar situation. I know exactly what they're talking about. I know exactly what they mean by the flooding. You get in areas where you have water. We got in areas where we had to put our flashlights in our teeth, in our mouth, to be able to kind of walk and not get all wet, not get the flashlight wet, to finally get into another area and get out. And one of the interesting experiences the second time that I did those caves, and I can't believe that it took the second time for me to realize that, is that the exit of the cave, if you imagine, you go in and it's a huge entrance. But as you go through the cave, it has wider openings and narrower openings, and narrow areas, and then eventually you get to the exit. The exit is literally a little hole in the ground, 2 or 3 miles from where you went in. The problem with that hole in the ground is in the case of Alabaster Cavern and many of the caves, is surrounded by hills. So when it rains, guess what that hole is? It's the drainage of that hill, that area. So the water flows right through that hole into the cave. Not only, particularly here in Oklahoma, not only water flows in, but mud flows in. So the mud blocks the exit, and it makes it every time narrower and narrower, depending on the time of the year and how much it has rained. So the second time I was there, I kept thinking, I don't remember this being so tight, and we not finding the exit. So I'm starting to get a little worried. And I get a couple of scouts, and I won't say who, that are a little panicked, a little claustrophobic. And we are at a point where we are more than 2 miles in, or 1.5 miles in, whatever long the cave is. So I know that we are minutes from the exit, if there is an exit. Otherwise, we need to turn around and go back. And if I tell that to the scouts, it would be tragic. So I sent Mitchell Dye ahead. I said, let's stop here. We have a little bit of space. Let's, at least we can put our heads up, not crawling. Let's sit here and relax, and let me send the older scout out to see how much farther do we have to go to get that exit. So needless to say, he goes and comes back in about 10, 12 minutes, and he said, just a few minutes away, 6 minutes away. So we kept going, and when we found the exit, it was a little hole, and we literally had to kind of open it a little bit so some of the kids, and particularly the adults, me included, could get out. And it dawned on me for the first time, maybe it's a good idea to check the exit before we enter the cave. So, looking at the situation in Indonesia, I get a call from my son who was seeing the same news and telling me, oh my God, I can't remember how similar this is to Alabaster Cavern. And at the same time, he was reminiscent. He was telling me, it is so amazing all the experiences that we had as scouts. We did climbing, we did rappelling, we did sailing, we did canoeing, we went into rivers, we went into caves. And no, you will not need all those skills to succeed in life. You will not need all those skills to have a life. But having all those experiences have taught these kids something about adversity. What Brian just said speaks to it. Preparing for months to go on a hike at the scout ranch at Fillmore, and not being able to do it because there is a forest fire is adversity. Continue to prepare for the rest of the year, so next year you can be the first ones there. That's what success is all about. So you will find plenty of situations in life that will stop you from advancing, just like you found in your scouting adventures. But you were able to sidetrack those things, regroup and go at it again, sometimes 2 and 3 times, right? Particularly for the Eagle Project, So that's basically what Scouts is supposed to teach them. That perseverance, that capacity to assess where they are, assess where they want to go, be able to assess what the obstacles are in the way, and then how to overcome them. The ones that are in college now are already taking full advantage of those skills. And they are scouting skills. They are life skills. I have absolute certainty. When I talk to all of them say college is hard. But I have absolute certainty that the 3 of them that are already there, and 4 of you, you guys graduate. I have absolutely no doubt that they will graduate. I have no doubts they will have a successful life. My only challenge for them is that they actually not only have a successful life, but that they continue this same movement, this same environment that we have here. That you guys marry, have kids, and eventually have kids that become scouts, and eventually help your future troop as adult leaders. So I have a few things for you. How's that for light? Light enough? I have a couple of books. Legacy of Honor. They speak about, let's see, one is for Aiden. They have the stories of many Eagle Scouts that you guys could emulate and follow, or at least get inspiration from. And then I have, as I always do, some coins for you. So let's see. Okay, so a coin with the Scout oath of promise, and another coin, Scout oath. Okay, keep those when you finish high school in your case, and in your case now when you move to college, but when you're ready to go to college, that's easy to take with you, a book and some coins. But it will always remind you of where you have been, who you are, where you have been, and what you will be doing in the future. Okay? Because once a Scout, once an Eagle Scout, always an Eagle Scout. And then I have a promise that I make to every Eagle Scout in this troop. I have a coin that is called, well, it's engraved with some words that say, "It's your move." This is what is called a wood badge recognition coin. Wood badge is the training that, the highest level of training that adults have to go in scouting. And once you go through that training, you receive a set of wooden beads and these coins. It takes 2 weekends, actually. You go on a Thursday, you go to Sunday, and then a month later you go again on a Thursday to Sunday. And there's a lot of camping skills, but there's also a lot of leadership skills and inspiration for the boys. So the adults have to take that training. What I promise every scout in the troop, I give them this coin so they see it. And it has their name on it. Okay? And then I take it from them. And for safekeeping, I have 8 of these coins, 2 of them from scouts from other troops that were with me in a pack as Cub Scouts, and the rest from the scouts in this troop. And I have promised them that this is what you have to remember. You finish your studies, you start your professional career, you find a woman to marry for life, and you dedicate your life to her. You have kids, boys or girls. You get them in scouting. Girl Scouts or Boy Scouts, or now Boy Scouts, because they're both. And then you go to Wood Badge. And when you finish your ticket, and some of the adults can explain what a ticket is, when you finish your ticket in Wood Badge, you email me, call me, Facebook me, message me, whatever you want to do. And I will go wherever you are, and I will be at your Wood Badge meeting ceremony to award you these 2 coins. The commitment is, you finish your studies, you start your professional career, you get married, you have kids, you be scouts, and you do Wood Badge. Is that clear? Okay. Your parents are there, and they're saying, "He's crazy." They'll be dead before it happens. Or at least they're praying that that's the case. I'm going to tell them, and they're not going to like it. That's going to happen faster than you think. Okay? So, congratulations. Good job, guys.
I'm born ready. Do I need to bring them back up here?
Yeah, bring it back up.
Okay,
This only happens once, but we want to make sure they remember, right? So, 1 second while I prepare. First of all, I want to thank all the folks that were here that started the troop up. Mr. Viejo, Charisse, Mrs. Bruza. Have I missed anybody? David Kincan in the back. It's really great to see you guys again. I want to welcome all the new scouts and new families to our troop, and want to tell you guys that you've actually joined a bigger family, right? When we take the boys out to camp, we take them to summer camp, we take them to Lord knows where. We get into whatever adventures we get into. I can truly say that our leadership team and our group look out for these boys like they're our own. Whether it's a scouting event, whether it's at the gas station, whether it's at the mall, we always have an eye out for our boys. So, really appreciate you guys being here for this, and welcome to my family. My name is Mark McChesney. For you guys that don't know, I was Scoutmaster for about 2 years, was Assistant Scoutmaster for about 3 years prior to that. And let me tell you what, I have had a blast working with everybody here, but especially these 2 young men.
we have with us today. I want to start out with a question for the boys, for the scouts that are here looking at our new Eagle Scouts. Who do you guys think the most important volunteer in scouting is? Is it the Scoutmaster? Is it the Assistant Scoutmaster or the retired Scoutmaster? No, it's not. Keep going. Committee Chair? This is the Scoutmaster minute I gave you guys. You already know the answer. Who's the most important?
Us. The Scout.
Right, the Scout. Because no one's making you guys do this, right? Mom and Dad may kind of say, hey, we need to go to Scouts today, and sometimes you're like, maybe I want to go, maybe I don't. But for the most part, you guys are here all the time. With these two young men, they volunteered their time to practice servant leadership, as we expect all young men to practice. I'd like to talk a little bit about both these gentlemen. I have spent a lot of time with these guys, lots of time. We went to New York, we went to Washington, D.C. together. We had to drive back from Washington, D.C. together with a couple folks that didn't shower very regularly for the week prior. Right? If anyone has ever done that for 2 days, you know what it's like. Mr. Gerst, I went with you to Washington, D.C., got to spend a week with you in a new 5 days, roughly. One thing that I love about Mr. Gerst, he has overcome so much in his scouting career. What you guys see here is the product of a great program that this nation offers. Both of these young men, as Cesar alluded to, have overcome some significant obstacles to stand in front of you today. And for that, I want to wish you guys well and a job well done. Mr. Gerst has honed his gift of communication on the way to DC. I was amazed at how many times he said the word government, whether that was on the CV, on the walkie-talkie we were going to, or how many times you got semis to honk at us. The record stands at 76. They were shaking my car so hard, it was hard to keep it on the lines because they all get their arms in synchro and the car would lean over. If you've seen my car, you'd understand why. His gift to the world is communication, in my opinion, and that will serve him well in the future. Mr. Crowder, I've known Mr. Crowder since my very first day in scouting. That was going to a trip to Lexington. As I remember, it was almost 6.5 years ago when you were about that tall. And I didn't even have any idea what scouting was. I just knew there was a whole bunch of guys running around, all dressed the same, and I was trying to learn from it and was pretty impressed. Mr. Crowder is one of the few scouts that I can say, there's one or two more in here today, that I can say he's quick to act, but he's slow to anger. And I think that is a very good attribute for a young man. So I don't want to belabor this. I'm super proud of these guys. I challenge you guys to learn from a quote from Patton, looking at what these guys have accomplished today. And that quote is that a good plan effected today is better than a perfect plan effected next week. So for you guys that look at these volunteers that have volunteered to become Eagle Scouts and to serve our country in the future, I encourage you guys to start planning now every step you need to take to get up here and be standing here in a year or 2 or 3 to join their ranks. Thank you so much. Nice job.
I'll keep my remarks brief. No comment. You're going to see me a lot here in the next few minutes. Like these two former Scoutmasters before me have said, we spend a lot of time with these young men, and it's always a pleasure every chance I get to spend with these two guys right up here. Aiden started his career in Hawaii, believe it or not, as a Cub Scout many moons ago. And I had the privilege to be his Cub Master and work with him through his Cub Scouting career as well. Now, Nicholas, I didn't get to meet him until I joined the troop up here, but I learned a lot about him in a short amount of time. With Nicholas, I was responsible for doing Webelos Woods about 3 years ago. And just like everything else in Scouts, it's boy-led. So it was my job to put it together behind the scenes, but I needed a front man. I asked Mr. Crowder to do it without hesitation. He took the bull by the horns, and we had a successful event, I do believe. So Aiden, as Mr. McChesney talked about, has honed his gift of communication. I would say not just communication, but his skill of wit. He is a young man that you've got to be on your game, because he can have a wit that cuts like a knife, and he is not afraid to use it against somebody. So that's something I learned about him, and that's something I'll keep in mind if I'm around him. So guys, again, I'm not going to talk a whole lot, but I just want to congratulate you guys and for the job well done.
Aiden and Nicholas, Eagle Scouts, please rise. As a representative of the Eagle Scouts of this council, I wish to welcome you to the Brotherhood of Eagle Scouts. Only 5% of the boys who enter scouting achieve what you have here tonight. The requirements are demanding but fair. Your achievement is recognition of your perseverance and ability. But I am not here to talk about your past accomplishments, which are great, but of your future opportunities and responsibilities. 50 years ago, I received my Eagle Award, and in the years since then, it has constantly enriched my life. It will yours as well. Of course, when you go to a scouting function, you will be recognized as a doer, and you will have the opportunity of standing as a leader among men. But I think that your Eagle Award will have meaning far beyond scouting itself. You are a marked man now, and your achievement will follow you throughout your life. The things you have done, the leadership and sense of honor you have developed will mean more to you than a certificate and a piece of ribbon. You will have more opportunity to be of service to your fellow man through your school, your work, and through scouting because of what you can do. In the years to come, you will casually meet people who are Eagles as well, and there will be an instant bond of comradeship. You have each shared a common experience. You each know that the other can be trusted. The comradeship among Eagles extends throughout the world of scouting and into the larger world beyond. For the rest of your life, you travel as a marked man, an Eagle Scout. Welcome.
As our Court of Honor began tonight, you joined with fellow Scouts in repeating the Scout Oath and the Scout Law. Now you will stand and repeat a new oath, the Eagle Scout Promise. Though the words you say are similar to those you've said so many times before, tonight they will mean more to you than they ever have. When you pledge yourself on your sacred honor, you will be sealing your oath and the words that close the Declaration of Independence. I'd like all Eagle Scouts in the audience to please stand at this time and to rededicate themselves by repeating the Eagle Scout Promise with our new Eagle Scouts. Gentlemen, please raise your right hand and make the Scout sign. Repeat after me. I reaffirm my allegiance.
I reaffirm my allegiance
To the three promises of the Scout Oath.
to the three promises of the Scout Oath.
I thoughtfully recognize and take upon myself
I thoughtfully recognize and take upon myself
the obligations and responsibilities of an Eagle Scout.
the obligations and responsibilities of an Eagle Scout.
On my honor, I will do my best
On my honor, I will do my best
to take my training and example.
to take my training and example.
My rank and my influence count strongly for better scouting
My rank and my influence count strongly for better scouting
and for better citizenship.
and for better citizenship.
In my troop and in my community,
in my troop and in my community,
and in my contacts with other people.
and in my contacts with other people.
To this I pledge my sacred honor.
To this I pledge my sacred honor.
Would the Eagle parents please come forward? Stand behind your son. All right. Nicholas Crowder and Aiden Gerst, your parents and family have undoubtedly been your primary source of help and strength. No one will ever know the unnumbered acts of self-sacrifice from your parents. I'd like your father to pin your Eagle medal right here above this pocket. And moms, you can take the Eagle neckerchief, place it around your son, please. Scouts, it's a representation of a devotion to your mom. Would you please pin your Eagle pin on it? All throughout your scouting career, you've been presented a mom's pin, what's called mom's pin, and given to mom. The Eagle Scout rank comes also with a father's pin. So in recognition of the sacrifices your father has done for you as well, please pin that to your father. We should give the parents a round of applause. I would also like to now introduce a lady who's been with Troop 177 for a long time, Miss Margaret Brugia. She's going to read an Eagle Mom's poem.
It is every mom's dream to see her son grow tall and strong, to teach him what is right to be, to keep him from wrong. Mom still loves that little boy and uses all skills at her employ. She teaches him the things she can, and hopes he'll become a man. He learns that words can hurt or heal, that words can change the way we feel. He learns that truth is right and good, to treat his fellow man the way he should. He learns that where there's greatest freedom in this world, there also stands his nation's flag unfurled. He learns to live by faith and love, to always trust in God above. The years have passed, and in their way, a taller lad there stands. And mother's pride is brave indeed. Her little boy is nearly a man. Congratulations, Dad.
Boy Scouts of America, I hereby present to you your newest Eagle Scouts. Give them a round of applause. The process of earning one's Eagle Scout Award does not end with this ceremony. I have confidence that you will honor scouting with your life and service as today's scouting has honored you. The eagle soars high and seeks the rest only upon the loftiest of peaks. As an Eagle Scout, you too must soar high. You must not swerve from your path of duty. You must strive to obtain that which is the highest and noble in life.
This time, I would like to invite Nicholas Crowder to say a few words about his scouting experience, and afterwards, Aiden Gerst is invited to share about his scouting experience as well.
Scouts, leaders, parents, and friends, I want to thank you all for being here and supporting me and Aiden in our achievement. It means a lot that all of you can make it, as each person in this room, scouts, leaders, family, have helped us in some way or another. Family and friends were those people that raised us and shaped us into who we are today. Well, for the most part, it was the scouts and scout leaders that assisted us and guided us on our path toward Eagle. And I want to personally thank all of you for all the help I received on my journey to Eagle. As without all of you, I would have fallen short and I would not be standing at this podium today. First, I want to thank all the scouts and the boys that attended my Eagle Court of Honor. Those boys were Robbie, Aaron, Ibrahim, Nathan, Max, and my roommate. Now, in thanks for what they did, I gave them something that Cesar himself gave to me, a coin that has the Scout slogan on it, to do a good turn daily, because they took their time out of their day to come to my Eagle Project and do their good turn in helping me with it. So I wanted to give them something, and thanks for that. And next, I would like to thank all the adult leaders that assisted with my Eagle Project. Mr. Brandon, Mr. McChesney, Mr. McDowell, I'm sorry, I didn't call your name out earlier, I didn't see you back there. Mr. Rydell, Mr. Reynolds, Mr. Lawson, and Mr. Powers in helping me get me to the point for my Eagle Project. And as a token of what they did for me, I wanted to give them something with a little more meaning to me, because not only did they help with the project, but they helped me throughout my time. But before I do, I wanted to tell you guys something about my family. I am not the only Eagle Scout. The first Eagle Scout in my family was my great-grandfather, William C. Parker Jr., and his nickname was Buck Parker. He was born in 1921 and achieved his Eagle rank in 1953, if I'm remembering correctly. And one of the things he liked to do in scouting was collect slides. And so I have already given out some slides to Mr. Brandon, Mr. McChesney, Mr. McDowell, and Mr. Lawson. But there are a couple people that did not receive one yet. Will Mr. Reynolds, Mr. Idell, and Mr. Reynolds and Mr. Idell come forward, and Mr. Powers. So, in thanks for the support you gave me in my Eagle project, each in these boxes is a slide that used to belong to my great-grandfather. Those scouts and adults were responsible for assisting me with completing one of the most difficult parts of attaining Eagle. However, I also need to thank some people that guided me along my scouting journey for what's close to 8 years now. First off, the adult mentors who helped me out the years. There are 5 that stand out to me. While everyone has helped me in some way, I want Mr. Brandon, Mr. McChesney, Mr. Powers, Mr. Lawson, and Mr. Cesar Vallejo to please come forward. So, one of the things that you get when you get Eagle is pins. Just like the mother and father pin, you also receive mentor pins. Now, this is a different pin than for the mothers and fathers because you only have one of those. However, with the mentor pins, you can choose who you want to give them to. And these 5 men have helped me throughout my scouting career multiple times. And when I give them the mentor pin, I will tell you exactly what they helped me with when I can get them open. So Mr. Powers, thank you for the support and guiding me and getting to the point of Eagle. I know you're relatively new to the troop, but you still gave me a lot of support. I thank you for that.
You're very welcome.
Mr. Brandon, once again, helping me with my Eagle project, getting all that paperwork filled out and just guiding me along the last leg of my journey. Mr. McChesney, thank you for everything. Since you joined the troop, I've had a lot of fun campouts, and I can't thank you enough for all the help you gave me. Mr. Lawson, thank you for helping me religiously, as well as along the campouts. And Mr. Vallejo, thank you for being my scoutmaster throughout my life. Next, I want to thank Mitchell and Scott. No, you guys are good. I just want to thank you all. Thank you too, because even though I was probably an annoying little kid when I first joined, you guys really helped me, and I can't thank you enough for that because you got me ready to take care of all the new scouts that came in when you guys left. Lastly, I want to thank my mom and my dad for pushing me, believing in me, and helping me through the hard times in scouting, because whenever I couldn't get a hold of anyone, they would always be there for me. Thank you, Dad, for funding all my campouts. And lastly, I want to thank God for his guidance on my journey to Eagle. And I want to thank you all for coming once more, and I'm grateful that I got the chance to speak up here.
First off, I've enjoyed pretty much every moment in Scout. It's been really fun. Learned a lot, like how to make fires. Can Mr. Brandon, Cesar Vallejo, and Mr. McChesney please come to the stage? They've all helped me through scouting a lot by being my scoutmasters, so I'm presenting them with leather pocket knife sort of things.
That's cool.
Without their support, my journey to Eagle would have taken much, much longer. Mr. McDowell, do you want to come down here or get up there? You would chaperone me with car rides throughout scouting to many campouts. I would also like to give you this and this is an interpin, yes, and an interpin. Do you want me Can the kids that helped me with my Eagle Scout project come up? Aaron, Camden, Luke, Noah, Jaden, Matt Reynolds, Ethan, Robbie, Tyler A, Tyler H, and Mr. Solomon. You're here. I have made these beautiful neckerchief slides out of the PVC card they helped me make, or that was one of the projects they may have helped me make. I don't know how to do it. Thank you. Without their help, I wouldn't have been able to get my Eagle project done, so I'd like to thank them. Ethan, say it. I am challenging you as an older brother to make Eagle Scout. Thank you all of 177. You have helped me greatly throughout the years.
Audience, if you'll please rise and remove all non-religious headwear. Dear Father in heaven, we thank you for allowing us to be here today to witness a special award given to Aiden and to Nicholas. We also thank you for allowing many friends and family who have so much influence on Aiden and Nicholas to be here to share in this award. We again ask that you continue to bless the Boy Scouts of America, our country, and our troop. May each of us serve you in a way that is pleasing to you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Color guard attention. Audience attention. Color guard, forward march. Color guard, halt. Color guard, prepare to retrieve the colors. Retrieve the colors. Color guard reform. Color guard halt. Color guard forward march. Color guard halt. About face. Color guard at ease, audience at ease.